AI is going to replace bad leadership. It doesn't mean it to replace bad leaders, but I do think it will expose what good leadership looks like in the world better. Because when people kind of say, why is that company winning? Why is that good? Look at that person succeeding? People will start to point to like, it's not their tech stack. Because, it's not because everybody's like, I have that AI thing too. Everybody's like, no, it's not the AI thing. It's not the tool. Everybody said it was something in the magic of the environment, the culture, the people. So I think I'm most excited that AI will elevate the importance of good leadership. People will start to experience better leadership. And so people will start to give good leadership.
Welcome to Intelligent Product, the podcast where we explore the intersection of product, data, and AI, and how the best leaders are building for tomorrow. My guest is Christian Idiodi, partner at Silicon Valley Product Group, founder of Innovate Africa Foundation, and host of the Product Therapy podcast. He has helped launch over 100 products and coached thousands of product leaders around the world. Christian doesn't just teach products, he builds people, and in a time where AI is reshaping how we build, how we lead, and how teams operate, his perspective is not just timely, it's essential. In this episode, we talked about what it really means to lead in the age of AI and what's changing about product leadership. We explored what executives are looking for in product managers today, project managers today, how AI is impacting team dynamics, and why emotional intelligence, product sense, and human connection are more important than ever. You will hear why Christian believes AI won't replace leaders, but it will replace bad leadership, and how great product leaders are evolving to lead both people and intelligent systems. This guest is someone I've been excited to speak with for a while. Christian Idiodi is a partner at the Silicon Valley Product Group and one of the most respected voices in product leadership today. He has helped coach and developed thousands of product managers across the world, from startups to enterprise. He's also the founder of Innovate Africa Foundation and host of the podcast Product Therapy, where he breaks down emotional and human side of product leadership in a way that's honest, relatable, and real. What I really appreciate about Christian is that he brings clarity, not just frameworks or advice, but a way of thinking about leadership that feels human, actionable, especially in a world where AI is changing everything. Christian, it's an honor to have you on the show. Welcome to Intelligent Products.
Thank you for having me, and such a gift to be here as well.
Awesome. I believe personally there have been a big shift in product and technology in the last 3 years. If you had to describe the shift in product leadership over the last 3 years, what would it be?
Oh boy, particularly in product leadership, the shift has definitely been emerging beyond 3 years. It's also probably a shift in the whole industry with the definition of what good product management is, the definition of what good product leadership is. I think as companies have continued to evolve how they create value, how they work collaboratively to build products for customers or for their business, they are realizing that the traditional ways of factory work, output driven, velocity heavy, go build this, let me tell you what to do, are not as effective for knowledge workers in the same ways. Most of the methodologies and frameworks and ways of working that were instilled in us in traditional MBA programs, business schools, come from legacy models where we had manufacturing plants, where we had to control assembly lines. We were focused on high production quality and velocity and efficiency. But they are realizing in today's age, especially with the emergence of technology, from the internet being very disruptive to the distribution of services to now AI, that you're leveraging people more for their minds than for their hands. And so, because there are so many things now that robots can do with your hands and computers do. And so what you need is the problem-solving creative mindset of people in order to create value. And so it requires a different type of leadership. Many people think maybe it's less leadership and management. We need to be hands off, let people go and do whatever they want. Or maybe it's more micromanagement, like I need to be in the details of what everybody is doing. It's actually demanding a better type of leadership, a better type of management, one that brings out the best in everybody, that enables creativity and problem solving and collaboration. It's an empowered environment. So leadership is changing because there's more demand today for better leadership and better management than ever before. So, I see some of the changes with the demand for product leadership almost as I'm seeing the changes in the evolution of technology and the changes in the maturity of the product discipline. Those things are happening that are driving a demand for what product leadership means. Many people don't know what it is. To be very fair, many leaders don't understand this because they've grown up in a traditional hierarchy of a culture, a bureaucratic top-down culture, a command and control environment, a project-centric environment. And now you're like, well, what's different? You're saying to people you want them to be led, not with control anymore, not with tax lists, not with spreadsheets, not with requirements, but you want them to be led with context, a deep understanding of the problems they're going to solve, the people they are serving. This is different for many leaders. Yeah.
I like the way you phrased it. And I think it relates to something I saw as well around the 5 C's, where collaboration, communication, creativity, part of those 5 C's, which you just mentioned, right? The future of product leadership right now is how do you empower with the right context that people can now be creative, they can collaborate, they feel empowered, to deliver value in this change, in this new world.
That's right. That's right.
So we're in a world now where AI can answer questions faster than more human beings. So what makes human leadership still essential? This is a very thought-provoking question. But if you have like an AI chat that you can go to, you can get like advice and guidance, is there like a threat to human leadership?
I actually think the opposite. Now, I mean, you've seen some things like AI actually being more empathetic than most humans. You've seen AI being a better therapist than most human therapists in some places because they are thoughtful, they are patient, they optimize for who you are and your unique condition. In some ways, what it's actually doing is replacing bad leadership. It's not replacing good leadership. And that's important to note. I do think, AI will handle more optimization of things, more prediction of things, more scale of things. But what that does, it means that humans must double down on empathy, on storytelling, on ethics, on vision. You see, think about AI as probably the most disruptive technology since the internet. The internet disrupted in our discipline a lot of how we go to market. We're not thinking about like you launch something, you can immediately have millions of people see it around the world. You don't have to think of, I'm going to advertise on a billboard, ship my products in a manufacturing plant. You can deliver goods to millions of people instantly because of the internet. However, once it disrupted distribution, one of the things that became more important was how we build things, became elevated. I think AI is going to disrupt a lot of delivery, how we build things today. It's going to enable us to build things faster. It's going to enable us to do a lot of tackle our tech debt, do our regression testing. It's going to enable us to deliver value faster. However, anytime you disrupt something, it elevates the importance of something else. So think about it this way. Everybody can now build things because I have AI. You can wake up tomorrow and like create an app. My daughter yesterday was like, oh, I need an app to tell me if my dresses are good or not that I wear to school. And she built a prototype in minutes, just literally went and talked naturally about it and did it. Now, there is two aspects of our work: how we decide what to do And then how we do it. We call how we decide what to do strategy. How we do it discovery. Because it's easy to build and everybody can build things now, tell me, what should we build? What is going to differentiate us? How are we going to win? What is the best way? So all of a sudden, because some AI has made some portion of our work easy, the choice is now more important. Are you seeing? The leadership's choice of, we are going to do this is now more important because you can do anything. Everybody can build stuff. It's no longer an advantage for you to be like, I have 500 engineers, so we are going to win. You see? Everybody's like, my daughter is like, I have an AI engineer. I can do that too. But the decision of how do we compete? Where do we play? How do we win? What do we focus on? How do I turn 10 engineers into 5,000? This is what we call strategy becomes important. And that's a leadership thing. The vision of what's going to work for our company, what's going to make a difference in the world. These are now, also you think about ethics. What is legal, compliance, regulatory safe? What works for humans? There is no AI group that can answer those questions. It will take what you feed it in to do it. But everybody has that advantage today. They can use it to do the same thing. So I'm calling this out, that the need to tell the story, the need for ethics, the need for vision, the need for empathy, the need become more important, the need for clarity, the need for measuring output, the need for staying human-centric. So I don't think AI will replace leaders, but I do think it is already replacing bad leadership. Not bad leaders, but bad leadership. People can turn to AI to get the gaps that they are not getting from their leaders today. You see, anybody that just directs tasks probably will become people are turning to AI to fix bad leadership, not necessarily to fix to get leaders in that way. So I do think that will happen.
I love it. I love it. And I like the way you phrase it around, right? AI disrupts, but it also elevates and brings in more opportunity, right? From your podcast with Shreyas Doshi on coaching product leadership, you talked about the outcome as well, right? Now we can do a lot of things. We can scale. It's not just about just pushing all of those features. As a product leader, now you can help bring everything to the vision, like you talked about, the strategy, and ensuring it's meeting the right outcome, all wrapped around governance. I really appreciate that phrasing. The next part of our conversation, I was hoping if you can just share more light about, what was the attraction for you into product leadership and into coaching? You've been, source of light and insight and vision for the product community. What was that initial attraction that brought you into the space?
Yeah. I mean, I have participated in building a lot of products in my career, from kind of since I was like 22 and I started like my first company, to the number of products that I have built, over 200 products over the last 20 years, participated in it. They got to a stage when I became a manager, then a leader, then an executive. You start to look at the very essence of how products are built. Products are built by product teams. Great products are built by great product teams, but great product teams are made up of ordinary individuals. Products just don't build themselves. They come from a collaborative construct of people figuring out what is good for another group of people, working within the constraints of an environment. And as a leader, you start to recognize this shift, that your products is no longer the things you build, but the people under your care. The people are now your product. You start to realize this in magic to people, which is what the leadership aspect is. Meaning, if I want a better product, I don't work on the product. I work on the people building the product. So there's something I think I realized in my career, that it wasn't just about features. It was about solving real human problems at scale. And in the absence of people that are thinking about those problems, waking up every day to solve them or optimize them, you don't really create value. So leadership for me started in that mental shift, moving from building things to building teams that build things. You see? And so I probably didn't recognize a lot of my secrets to the success of the products I have built until I could look back in hindsight. Because I used to be concerned that I love the craft of product. I love building things. But there was a point in which I was like, man, I miss building things. I just spending all my time coaching in one-on-ones, spending time with these things. And then, someone told me like, but all your products that you build are good from your teams. And I realized like, I am still building things, but what I'm doing is I'm building teams that build things. I'm investing in the people that build things. And that's the shift. That's the difference between the product manager and the product leader. The product manager is building the thing. The product leader is building the product manager that is building the thing. So, that has been the essence of my work in product since then. And that's how I scale. The best gift I can give the discipline is having great product leaders and great product managers. Not by having great products, because if you have great product leaders will develop good product managers. If you have great product managers, you create good products in the world. So, coaching has always fundamentally been my approach. I don't think you hear me say all problems are people problems. I don't think there are any problems in any organization or over in society that cannot be attributed to people or solved by coaching people or cannot be coached in that way, because they are still a construct of the decisions and choices and the human interactions we have. So I've always been drawn to reframing, like helping people see problems differently, just change the problems I'm solving from product work to people.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah, because investing in your people is also very, very important. It's not just about the products, right? You also have like, if you have the right PMs, you invest in them, you make them like mini leaders that can go in and execute your vision without micromanaging. I think that's a huge advantage. I didn't know you've built so many products. What has been your favorite product?
You see, people used to ask me this question. And like I said, when my mindset shifted, I realized that answer to that question also shifted. I used to even think today I will always say my best products are my kids in the world. And not because they are biologically wired or genetically my kids, but because they are thoughtful, kind humans in the world that are generous and empathetic to the differences and tolerant to changes in our world, and the decisions that they make reflect a humanness in humanity. That's kind of always what I love. But I stopped measuring my success in products by the products I have built. And I have been participant in some very iconic products at some very big brands, and some very early patents in my career. But if you ask me, what is my favorite product? It would be the people. Like, oh my goodness, I remember Roddy, he was an intern when I met him 10 years ago. Now he's CEO at that big company. Oh, I remember David. He was a product manager. I remember when he was just learning the craft. Now he's head of product at this big Fortune 10 company. Right? The best indication as a product leader are that your people get promoted.
And grow.
Your people continue to say, this is the magic of coaching. You think about, if you're a teacher in school, think about the impact of being the teacher that taught, Nelson Mandela in school, or that taught somebody iconic in school in that way. That's your product. The product of your wisdom and your time and your effort, you instilling the right values, the right way of thinking, the right way of reframing, the right way of problem solving in them. So till today, my favorite products, they are all over the world. And they are in people. They are in leaders that I see today thriving, being successful. What warms my heart is when I go to a company and I'm just talking to somebody random and somebody says something that I say all the time. And I'm like, why do you say that? And they say, oh, my manager used to say that to me all the time. And I say, who is your manager? And sometimes your manager is somebody that used to work for me 10 years ago, 15 years ago, or even somebody that worked for me, that worked for somebody that worked for me. And it's kind of what I call the grandfather effect. Like how do you know you were a good parent? It's not typically by what your kids do. It's by what your kids pass on to their kids. You see? So it's kind of like the wisdom there. They're like, that told me a lot of things. That taught me a lot of things. But this lesson was so impactful, so beneficial in my life that I'm going to pass it on to my kids. And that is actually the true measure of, like, when I think about that's how the true measure of a man in that way for me, but also in the product work. How do I know my products are making a difference in the world? When I see the lessons pass on to another generation of people. Those are my favorite products in the world.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Thanks for sharing that. So in terms of the product managers and the people you lead, what qualities do best product managers demonstrate right now, especially when AI is doing more of the heavy lifting? Things have changed. What qualities, are you looking for, or do you recognize in a good PM?
Great question. I have always thought the heavier lifting in our work are the human skills, not the soft. I like the name human skills, because the term human skills came from that hard skills, soft skills in the military, in that kind of way. In the military, the hard skills is how to like load a gun, use equipment, kind of stuff. The soft skills are the decision making, how you work well with others, how you become team player in that way. The flywheel for what I've always looked for in product managers are the things that are super hard for me to train. Most of the things like that AI is even taking over today. Oh, can you write the requirement document? Can you, define work, break down complex stuff, write a strategy? I feel good that I can coach those things. I can teach those things. I can train to those things. You can get better with the reps and practice of those things. AI is accelerating the fact that those things are not actually valuable as much. But if I were ranking the things, I like what I call collaborative problem solvers. People that are very good at solving problems in a group setting. I always differentiate. It's like from just general problem solvers. You always have that uncle or that family member that is like that handyman. They can fix everything in your house. My light is broken, my plumbing, they come and fix it. But they are terrible at working with other people. Leave me alone. Give me the tool, always want to do it themselves. You see, those are different. They are good problem solvers, but they are not very good at solving a problem with a team or knowing what they need to solve a problem. Meaning I can say, I need somebody with this skill set. I don't know this. I'm not sure about this. I need someone with this experience. There are people that are very good at like building a team in their head. Like, okay, what game are we playing? We're playing football. All right. I need offense. Like they know the skills they need. I'm going to play this role, but I need this to be successful. So I call that like a collaborative problem solving mindset. I have started to elevate emotional intelligence, EQ, has been super important. And now with AI, imagine if AI brings you IQ. It's made everybody a data analyst, a researcher, a consultant. AI can bring IQ a lot. But the emotional intelligence, your self-management, self-regulation, your empathy, your social awareness, the cues of like, I know he's not happy. I know he's not listening. I know he doesn't like this. I know he's just saying this. How can I regulate my emotions? How can I see the world through other people's lens? How can I put myself in other people's shoes? Are you seeing that? These are like things that in every point in time, AI cannot infer what is good for a human at this time, in this circumstance, based on this context, and then apply that to every single human that you have chosen to solve a problem for. So even more important. So I like that. I like agency as a big thing. I think it's important in our discipline that people recognize what they can control and they are going after those things. You're not waiting for permission to solve a problem. You're now a creator. That is part of what the job is going to become more of. And so, you feel some sense of agency to own a problem, to own it on behalf of someone else and to try to do a good job in solving it. Obviously, things like time management skills are super important. So you're kind of seeing that I'm going through a different set of skills, because when I used to define what makes a good product manager, I used to think about what they should contribute: a deep knowledge of the customer, a deep knowledge of the business, a deep knowledge of the industry, a deep knowledge of the data, a deep knowledge of the product that they are working on. That deep knowledge and expertise allows them to make a good decision. You see? But today, AI has made some of those things, those knowledge things, easy for people to get, or normalized it in some ways. Maybe not even easy, but like I can get industry knowledge, I can understand data in some ways, but the discernment, what we might call product sets and product taste, those things are going to be hard to do. Someone was asking me, how will I describe it? You're from Africa in some ways, right? And I'm sure your mother or your family member is very good at cooking a very good soup. Have you watched like your grandmother, cook a soup with no recipe? Do they have any recipe book? They are just
Listen.
They know exactly what to add to make a good soup, when to add it. Are you seeing? That is product sense. Cooking sense. Your grandpa has that cooking sense. They know the ingredients to make a good soup. But they also know, have you ever given your mother or your family member a soup and say, taste it? And they'll be like, oh, it's missing salt, or add some more pepper, or add some more fish. Have you seen that? They have the taste. So these are the same kinds of things in our product work. The best product managers, when you're kind of describing what does product sense mean, think about it like a chef in the kitchen. They are the ones that understand the ingredients to make a good product. They understand what needs to work together, what tools I need, what timing it is. Like, oh, it's cool, it's well enough. You're like, how did you know this? You just intuitively. Is it intuition? Is it rap? They can learn this. And they also have good taste. They can know, this is good for humans. This works well. This solves the problem. That's the mindset I want you to kind of see. Think about it. AI will tell you the recipe book because it was fed that in an LLM. You see what I mean? Okay, 3 cups of sugar, 3 teams of this to make it. You see, but like, do they have the sense, oh, the fire was a little too hot, turn it down? They don't see those things. That's overcooked. It's not well done. They can fix those things when you give them the prompt, but they're not going to even be able to taste it because the solution you're building is not for them. It's for humans. It's a magical thing when you see it. Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. Yeah. So what I took from that was collaborative problem solving is very important. Agency, discernment, product sense,
Yes.
right? Having a sense of what would a user need, like the human being the end users, what would they need, and how you can bring all of these things, mix it up, get the right mix and flavor that meets that human need or problem, solution to a problem. And so is this in alignment with executive you've spoken to as well? Like you've talked to a lot of executives. Are they also looking at the same thing as well? Or are you seeing like a difference in expectations from what product leaders are looking for from PMs as well?
It does differ, but it differs because of the definition of what the job is. Depending on what you think the job is, it will change your framing for what you think good is in the job. Many people see product managers almost like project managers. Your job is to deliver a feature, to gather a set of requirements, and to go deliver a feature or a project. If I were looking for that, I will be looking for different skill sets or different competencies to do that. If I looked at you as a delivery manager, I will be looking for different skill sets. To the extent that I am defining the role of a product manager as a collaborative problem solver focused on creating value, meaning solving a problem for someone in a way that they will love the solution and in a way that works for our business, or that we get something back in return, I am now looking for a different set of skills to do that. So unfortunately, even two aspects that are nuanced in it. One is how you define the role, and also how you play the role, you play the games. First, just like saying, oh, we're playing football versus we are playing basketball. You see, if I tell you we're playing basketball, what are you looking for? You're like, I need some tall people. I need someone that can shoot the ball. I need good defense. And you think, you see, if I say I'm playing football, real football, like soccer, not the one that we play with our hands, but you're thinking to yourself, I need strike. You see, so first of all, choosing the sport will tell a leader what they need to succeed. Second, okay, now I agree. We are playing football. I now know that I need Messi and Ronaldo and a good goalkeeper. Okay, good. How you play football also changes what you did. It's kind of what we call empowered teams versus future teams. You see, if how I play it is I'm going to scream at everybody, kick the ball here, pass the ball here, kick here. You see, that is the control style of playing football. No real good football team plays like that. You see, they play because they are coached. They practice, then they get on the field, and you trust them to make good decisions on how you play. So if I am playing football, by my job as the leader is to tell you everything to do on the football pitch, I will also be looking for things that are different. But if my job is to make you better at your job, teach you the strategy and the playbook, how to win against the competition, practice with you, get you ready, put you on the field to play, I will also be looking for something different. So, your question of like, do leaders think about the same things that I do? Truly, if you are looking for a product manager in an empowered product team, absolutely. But if you're looking for a project manager for a future team, a backlog administrator for a delivery team, or you're choosing to just play the old sports of project delivery and building output or command and control, you're probably not.
Sounds good. Yeah, I love the breakdown and the distinction. And you mentioned something about playbook, and I would like us to double click on that. So, what's one principle from your leadership playbook that's helping you navigate this AI moment right now?
Yeah, I will say clarity before speed. In kind of this AI first world, the temptation is to move faster because we can. The temptation is to go through reps, many more reps, because we can. It is cheaper to experiment than ever before. It is going to be cheaper to build than ever before. It's going to be cheaper to create than ever before. But the clarity of the vision and problem definition probably matters more now than ever before, because you can imagine the magnitude. Just someone was boasting to me the other day, oh, I asked ChatGPT to give me 100 ideas for my product, and it gave me 100 ideas. It's like, wow, that was awesome. I said, why did you only ask for 100? They said, what do you mean? They say, ask it for 10,000 ideas. You know what it's going to do? It's going to give you 10,000 ideas. Your little input, give me an idea, can create an exponentially infinite amount of outputs. So what you need to get better is the clarity of what you really want to do. Your clarity of the problems, who you're solving those problems for, I think will matter a whole lot more. I do think, philosophically, I'm a big coaching person, big people person. Anybody that knows me or follows my work, I'm nuanced about coaching versus controlling people. I think from a playbook standpoint, I've always told leaders that you win by raising the capacity of your people, not by micromanaging. You win, like your secret is just to get your people better at what they're doing. It's not a process. It's not, if I make you a better thinker, I will have better thought out solutions. If I make you a better decision maker, I will have better decisions. You see, what many people focus on is the framework and the process for how we do decisions. I'm like, well, I could do that, but then I have to enforce a process everywhere. But if I focused on getting people better at decision making, we will have better decisions. They will think through different playbooks, different ways. in some ways. I also do think the ethical and human-centric aspects of our work become even more important. And I need leaders to rise up to that challenge. The more intelligent systems become, the more critical it is to design products that respect and empower people. Every intelligent product carries responsibility. Leaders, I think, for the first time, we should be asking more questions. Not just can we do this, but should we do this? And this is going to be more important than ever in our history because the can we variable is going to be cheaper than ever. Cheaper than ever. There are going to be probably more apps, more products, more, than in the history of our generation coming out at a frequency faster than ever. Like anybody can build. I literally just told you my daughter built an app to pick a dress to go to school. And in a flash. And that's from the mind of like a 13-year-old. And she's not even trying to monetize it, but like any problem you have, you could probably build it. So that, a first principle, I think becomes more important. Staying human-centered becomes more important. Coaching, not controlling, becomes more important. Measuring your learning, not just your output, becomes more important, and like I said, clarity before speed will probably be a great principle as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I was expecting one principle. You gave about 5, which is very helpful. Coaching, not learning, clarity before speed, empowerment, right? Empower your team to be decision makers. Ask more questions, all right? What are we building for? We can do it, but what is the end goal? What is the impact of this instead of just pushing out stuff? And I think there's been a whole lot of talk on the internet a few weeks ago with the news from MIT about the failures of most AI projects, and also Sam Altman talking about an AI bubble burst. It's because everyone now is trying to catch up, and they feel speed is also important. And there's a lot of AI projects out there, but the end result or the where the value proposition is this actually delivering impact? What is the function of what we are doing, and what is the ultimate goal? And I think, like what you said, clarity, understanding, and clarifying our customer will use this and how they see value from this is very important. Okay, as a product manager trying to figure out how to stand out in a world full of AI tools, what would be that one or two or couple of advice you would give this product manager or project manager trying to stand out?
Probably the same thing I've been doing to my kids. Today, many people thought there was a time people called themselves an internet product manager or a mobile product manager. Nobody does that anymore. I think inevitably the world will get to a point where we are not actually having a conversation about, I'm an AI this or it's relative, because it's just what we do. And kind of every Thursday in my house, I get my kids to practice something on AI or create something on AI in some ways, because I kind of want them to get very comfortable with talking about it. And I started early by saying, I want you to get very good at telling AI what to do or co-piloting with AI in many aspects of your life. And then I also want you to get good at interpreting what AI does as being good for humans or good enough, and being critical about it in every circumstance. And those are kind of the two principles I kind of have been practicing with them. But they have never trumped the value principles that I think will always remain. Like, you got to be a good communicator. You have to be very good at dealing with people that don't agree with you, or influencing people or circumstances, and making good decisions. If I'm looking for a product manager to stand out, don't get me wrong, the craft of the discipline is often very important. Like, you understand that very well, and you understand what it takes to build a good product. But I am always going to probably weigh heavily today on people that know how to leverage emerging technology to solve problems. People that know how to work with AI more effectively. But I like the discernment part, that product sense part. that product. So, please don't get it wrong. It can be learned. The same way I started by saying your mom probably cooks a very good meal and, but it doesn't look like any recipe book. If you ask her, how did you learn all of those things? What's she probably going to say? Oh, I used to watch my grandmother cook. I was in the kitchen cooking with them all the time. I don't know. It just happened, like I'm just, most of the time they did not. The best product managers I have met learned from great product leaders. If you want to differentiate yourself today, go improve your product sense. How do you do that? Get out of your building, spend time with humans, spend time with customers, have a deep understanding of the people and the markets and the industries you're going to work at and serve. Learn with other people, build. You do not get mastery at anything by avoiding it. You do not. You've got to get through the reps. The reason, your mom is good at cooking that soup, you probably made a lot of bad soup early in her life. Nobody remembers that. But they have reps in the kitchen. We used to say in Africa, their hand is strong. You see, oh, that food is good. The hand is strong. And it's like, what? They know how to turn it. It's easy for them to navigate the pot, to move things around, no matter how difficult it is. So if I'm looking for a product manager, I say, look, AI is normalizing a ton of the tactical hard skill aspects of the job. It is elevating the importance of the discernment, importance of the product sense and product taste of a product manager. You need to demonstrate that you have good taste. If I put 20 AI products in front of you, that you can know what is missing, have that taste, and you can know what is good, have that sense. You see it? So that is the muscle. If I were in the discipline today trying to build it, assuming I've got the emotional intelligence and deep understanding of the customer, all of the people can fake a lot of that knowledge today with AI. Product sense, product taste. I am looking that, go build that muscle better than ever. Because, that's going to be a different, and you can describe it to people. Like when I go in now, I want a product manager that can tell me, sure, we can build a lot of things, but I can discern what is good for you, the company, and what is good for the people you're trying to serve.
Love it. Product sense, product intuition.
That's right. There are many names of calling it, but it's just, I like the cooking example for me because it resonates just mentally in my head because it feels, when people describe it, it feels like either you have it or you don't. And I'm like, no, it's not one of those things like you're born with in that way. Yes, it's harnessed over time, but just like a good chef in a kitchen, if you ask them their secret to that, there is some creativity. You truly, like the best, they mix things around, but they make a lot of mistakes. They do reps, they do stuff. But when they put something to you on a plate and you take that bite, how did you know it was too acidic? How did you blend this different thing? Oh, that's new. You see, they are putting new products out. How did they discern that you are going to like it? It's not just because they did, not just because they took it in the kitchen. They understand what makes a good product, what makes a good meal. They know the magic and they experiment and taste very quickly to put out something you will love that you're going to pay a lot of money for. Awesome. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. And I also like the second point around hands-on, being practical. Like you did over time, get the experience and you solidify that product sense and product taste. So one final question before we go into the insight stack, kind of like a rapid fire question, would be what excites you most about the next generation of product leaders, especially those coming up right now with, using AI. They have this advantage of this modern and fast growing technology.
Hopefully what excites me is that there's a generation of product leaders that have experienced good leadership. And so they'll be able to give good leadership to others. I do think there's been an unfortunate slew of a whole generation where there are so many leaders today that have just not had good leaders. So they don't know what good leadership looks like in order to give it to a whole generation. Like I said, AI is going to replace bad leadership. It doesn't mean it to replace bad leaders, but I do think it will expose what good leadership looks like in the world better. Because when people kind of say, why is that company winning? Why is that good? Look at that person succeeding? People will start to point to, like, it's not their tech stack. Because it's not because everybody's like, I have that AI thing too. Everybody's like, no, it's not the AI thing, it's not the tool. Everybody said there was something in the magic of the environment, the culture, the people. So I think I'm most excited that AI will elevate the importance of good leadership. People will start to experience better leadership. And so people will start to give good leadership.
Thanks so much for that. Right. So moving into the insight stack, I'm just going to be asking a couple of quick hit questions around like personal tools, your belief, and any advice you're going to give for next generation of product leaders. What is one belief or habit that makes you a better leader? Like a mental model, like a routine, like something you do that makes you a better leader every day?
Wake up every morning, kind of reflect. Well, I go to sleep with some gratitude, my mental model of all the things that I have accomplished or learned or grown in this, full of gratitude. But I wake up very goal oriented with, like, these are the 5 things I need to tackle today, like my daily 5, and I write it down in some ways. I do think there is something around that focus that is important as a leader. Kind of asking yourself, what did I reframe today? What did I accomplish? Versus what do I want to accomplish? In many of those Scrum Agile ceremonies, they have all those, like, what are you doing well? What did you do yesterday? What did you do today? What's going to be in your way? Type of thing. Many people don't do a nice inventory check on themselves in that way. And I think as a leader, if the people are your products, you want to be very thoughtful and intentional about what you're doing to better your people. So having just very clear focus goals as a daily habit is super important. You're kind of a reflection of the choices you make.
So in the morning, clear focus goal. Towards the ending of the day, gratitude. I like that. What is one product that's intelligent to you that you use currently and why? Like AI tools that you use for productivity and the likes.
Oh, there are so many AI tools out there.
I know.
My favorite tool, regardless of an AI, has always been do not disturb on your phone. It is often the best productivity tool I have found for people. I tell people, I coach people that all the time. I actually don't like notifications. Turning off your notifications is often my favorite tool, meaning I want to be proactive. Like, I don't respond to email. I don't react to email. I respond to them at my choosing. So I'm like, I have 2 times a day I check email and I go check email and I'm working on email. I have time, when I am working, is like those things take off your focus. They take off your ability to create value because you're reacting than responding. But I do love a lot of AI tools. I play with all of them, and like I said, every Thursday, my kids, we play with a new tool. We just started doing making music in the house, and like you can write lyrics with ChatGPT and stuff like that, and then you can put it in a tool like Sonu, which is like an AI tool. You can pick like Afrobeat, pick like stuff to make it. I want to tell a Swift style song, and we do karaoke nights as a fun of it with our own music and our own beats. And what I do like is anything that reinforces your power to create. We've done arts. We pick a tool to create arts. We've done writing a book with AI, storytelling, like just the idea of creation with it. I know there are many productivity tools for like thinking and organizing, or thought partnership with Claude and ChatGPT or Gronk and all of those things. Productivity wise, till tomorrow. In short, the more with AI today, the more I'm like, my favorite tool is still do not disturb. Like airplane mode is my favorite productivity tool. I will teach anybody till tomorrow. Like, you will get a whole lot done in the world with turning off notifications or do not disturb.
Awesome. That's very unique and it's very important as well. In a world where you're having a lot of screen time, it's good for you to just step away, just have that focus and be productive. And I also like the fact that you have been creative with these tools, teaching your kids, bringing them to it as well in a safe way. And also you are kind of like creating that bonding time with them as well. So You're kind of really multitasking there, which is very good. So the next question would be a book or resource you always go back to or recommend. Like you have like this book, like a go-to. If I need advice relating to like coaching or leadership or product design, this is where I go to.
Hmm. Oh boy, those are all very different topics. I think I have a favorite book for all of those kinds of things. I mean, I one of the early influences for leadership. I used to have a CEO that made me read autobiographies a whole lot. I like the Lincoln book, kind of Abraham Lincoln, because he used to coach me that all leadership is all about decision making, and that how do we know a decision is good? Most of the times when we're making a decision, we don't have the luxury of knowing whether it's good or bad. But if you read the biography of a great leader, no matter what it is, we have a history to tell us that was a good decision or a bad decision. But reading what they used to make the decision strengthens your decision making. So I kind of like Lincoln. I like your traditional how to win friends and influence people, those kind of things like that, the success principles, Jack Canfield's book in that way. But for empowered product teams, I do like the $1 Trillion Coach, turn that ship around. There's some great books around empowered teams and leadership and the stories or the narratives around that. I was just reading one How Soccer Explains the World book recently in some ways, and it goes into the nuances and politics and people dynamics around things. But, I have different books for different subjects in that way. Obviously, our library of books at SVPG have all been thoughtful for the discipline. Inspired is for the individual contributor, the product manager. That's how to do the job. Empowered is all about product leadership, kind of how to create the environment for teams to thrive with context and coaching. And then Transformed is how to move to the product model. That's targeted to executives and leaders on how to create a company that focuses on outcomes, not output. So those are all fantastic, Product is Hard series that really covers all of this topic.
No, thanks for sharing that. So what's one best career or life advice you've ever received? And I think you've just touched on it about the Lincoln book. And I think there's a popular saying that there's nothing new, there's not like a new problem under the sun, right? And I like that framing whereby you're going back to learn from back in the days. Like, what was the thought process? How was this solved? Nothing, no problem is like very new and unique. It has been solved in some sort of shape and form. And going back to learn, take from the lessons learned, to inform how you can tackle these going forward is, I think that's a very good advice. I see the wisdom in that. Yeah.
They say all knowledge is recollection, but to your point, like there are no new variables in that way. And some decisions are harder than the ones you're making. Like, how does someone decide a wartime decision? Like, that is like life and death, or like you go back to the art of war and you go back to all of these principles, the human constructs, the power dynamics, all of those things. Most of these things are not new. People complain about office politics. Like, that's a new trend, or like the dynamics of leadership and people. So you're absolutely right. I always say, leadership is not about having the answers. It's about creating conditions for others to discover the answers. And you get better by recognizing, making good decisions in that way, looking back at others, how they made decisions and learning from that.
Christian, this has been a very powerful and insightful conversation. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And people, thank you. Where can people follow your work or support what you're building next?
Obviously, follow our work at svpg.com. You can follow my work in Africa too as well with innovateafricafoundation.org. We do a whole lot of work in empowering the African continent and the discipline of product in Africa too as well. And you follow me on LinkedIn too as well if you want to keep up to date on the things I'm doing.
All right. Thanks, everyone. This has been a very powerful conversation. And bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this, please give us a like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to visit intelligentproduct.io to learn more and stay connected.